So, Square Enix, on Monday, they released, surprisingly enough, a Final Fantasy VII demo. Depending on how much you played it, depending on what you did and where you went and stuff like that. It's about 40 minutes to an hour. I got all the gameplay for it, captured it all, did it Tuesday. I'm ready to talk about it Wednesday after I, gave it some thought. Not gonna lie to you. I have been really down and a little bit unfair to Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Square Enix has left a really bad taste in my mouth in the last couple of years with what they did with the Tomb Raider series, with what they've done with the Final Fantasy series in the last couple of years, specifically with Final Fantasy 15, and then on top of that, the absolute disaster that was Kingdom Hearts 3. I had to literally watch it. I studied the entire lore of that video game for 3 hours, and I didn't even get 11 hours into the game because I was starting to fall asleep during Kingdom Hearts 3. That's neither here nor there. Square Enix has left a bad impression on me, and I was like, you know what? Final Fantasy VII, I have no faith in them to recreate one of the best video games of all time. One of the most commercially successful video games of all time. I don't think they have it in them. I don't think they know what they're doing. Even when they started to release trailer after trailer, gameplay after gameplay, I watched some, but I was not interested in Final Fantasy VII. I've barely talked about this video game on the channel. But I'm not gonna lie to you. When I played the game, and I played it all, played the entire demo, it's about an hour's worth of time, played it all, I came away feeling great about the game. Like, wow, like this game, it impressed me. I'm not gonna lie. For starters, the main concern with the game that I thought needed to be addressed early on was switching it from turn-based to real-time combat. I was like, well, you guys aren't good at that. You guys are really bad at live action gameplay. The real-time combat was one of the main concerns, but they did a great job with kind of creating a hybrid of real-time combat and turn-based combat. What they did with Final Fantasy VII, the remake, to make it a real-time and also a turn-based RPG is they still have the active time battle system in the game. Your bar still fills up. In fact, there's 2 bars that fill up at the bottom, I think right-hand corner of the screen that fill up. Now, you can still attack. You can still have the melee attacks. In fact, like, you can spam melee attacks and all that good stuff in the game real time. But the active time battle system, what it does is it allows you to use items, use spells, use abilities while you're attacking. And attacking, it builds up that gauge. So you can use the abilities after the gauge fills up and stuff like that. It works really well because it doesn't just slow down time, it stops it. So you can select, you can go into your inventory, you can select things, you can select Phoenix Downs, you can select potions, you can select all that stuff. I didn't go deep into the system because I was just trying to speed run through it, but you can also hotkey certain things like spells and commands, so that way you don't have to go into the menus and change characters and stuff like that. You can give commands to characters and things of that nature within the game without even having to switch characters. I really enjoyed the hybridization of the real-time and the turn-based RPG elements in Final Fantasy VII, the remake. They did a great job with it. They did a fantastic job. And then on top of that, on top of having the active time battle system being in play and things of that nature with spells, items, and abilities, you also, for each different character, have 2 different modes that you can put the character into, right? So for instance, Cloud has this mode called Punisher mode, where he changes his stance with his blade, and when he changes his stance with a blade, he moves a lot slower, he's not as agile, his damage output that he's able to put out is greatly increased, he can stagger enemies faster, he's just all around a better character when you put him in Punisher mode. Barrett's special ability isn't really a stance, more as an actual ability. Like, he has the overcharge where he pretty much just puts, I think, new rounds, it looks like explosive rounds into his Gatling gun, and he fires that, and that's his ability. It has a cooldown, whereas Cloud just changes his stance. Overall, I really enjoyed the combat within the game. I loved how they had specific abilities for specific characters. I loved how the active time battle system flowed with the turn-based RPG elements. The only thing that I was like, man, this kind of sucks with the gameplay is the AI. The AI is terrible. I don't know what they're doing, but it's terrible. I don't like it. I know that there's ways to work around it, but it sucks. The AI sucks. But the final thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, and this came full circle when I was playing the game, was just how great of a recreation of the world and the elements and the characters of Final Fantasy VII. They did a great job of personifying Cloud as this character within the game that's supposed to be a silent protagonist, and you can kind of see that. He's distant from a lot of the characters. He's a little bit more introverted. He's a little bit more stoic, but at the same token, he acts, he reacts when he needs to. He's the hero, he's the main character, and he does the things that he needs to do to show that off within the game. And Barrett is Barrett, and he has his personality as well. And if I showed you snippets of some of these characters interacting with one another, it's like, yeah, like this is exactly from the original game, and they did a great job of that. Not to mention the world looks great. It looks fantastic. I was like, oh my god, like you see the trailers, you see the gameplay, and it's a little bit out of context, but when you go through some of the levels, the level design in this game, it's fun. Like I went back and I played some of the Final Fantasy VII early levels back in 1997, that game. I played some of the levels in that game a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, Final Fantasy VII, the remake, their levels are significantly better than the 1997 release, and it kind of got me starting to think. It's like, wait a second, hold on a minute. Let's pause for a second here. When you think about Final Fantasy VII, you have to think about how this is the game that pretty much sold the PS1, that pretty much got Sony into the video gaming industry. Yes, they had a lot of video games, but this was the reason why you bought a PS1 all the way back in 1997 for this specific game. This was the system seller. A lot of people consider this game to be one of the best video games of all time. Remember, everybody talks about it with that air of reverence. So when you talk about Final Fantasy VII the remake, when you look at the gameplay, when you look at how great of a job that they've done at recreating the elements of this game that made it so popular all the way back in the 90s, the 2000s, and even the 2010s, because it's still a great game. When you look at all those elements, you look at how great it's been recreated, is it or is it not going to be in the contention for Game of the Year? I said it at the beginning of the video, and I talked about it for, a couple of minutes. I was down on this game. Now I'm really, really high on this game. I really, really liked what I saw from Final Fantasy VII in the 40 minutes of gameplay that I got to play. This has been 24. Remember to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe for more. Until my next video, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time.